Hi Wonder Class and welcome to our virtual computing lesson, which I do still find really difficult to get used to because we're not actually together in the computer room. So let's see what we're learning about in today's computing lesson. Today's computing lesson learning objective is, can I understand what peer pressure is? So that's a word which you might have heard before. So let's find out what peer pressure is. So before I tell you what peer pressure is, have a little think about what you think it might be defined as. So what do you think peer pressure is? What is it defined as? I'll give you a few seconds to have a think, and if you want to have a bit more time to think, you can always pause the video. Okay, let's have a look. So peer pressure is when people you know encourage you to do something even if you don't want to do it. So that is what peer pressure is about. It's when people that know you encourage you to do something that you don't want to do or you don't feel comfortable to do. So let's have a quick look. Here is a girl called Ruby. So I sent a quick snap picture to Jazz last night. I don't know who made it, but it was hilarious. Jazz didn't reply, which is pretty annoying. She's supposed to be my best friend. What's the matter with her? Why do you think Ruby is cross? So Ruby sent a picture to Jazz and Jazz hasn't replied. So Ruby's cross. Why do you think Jazz didn't respond straight away? Have a think. So Jazz probably didn't respond straight away because Ruby might have sent it late at night, and she has said she sent it last night, so Jazz might have been sleeping or not been with her phone. And why is Ruby cross? It's because she thinks that as soon as she sends a message to Jazz, Jazz should reply, but that's not necessarily true because in our homes, we're not always on our phones or our tablets. We are also doing other things. Let's have a little read of this part. So here is Jazz. Ruby was really weird at school today. She wouldn't talk to me and had her lunch with other girls in our class. She told me it wasn't fair that I didn't respond to the quick snap because we were best friends. Is Ruby being fair? Is Jazz being fair? Should Jazz have replied even if it was to say she didn't like the photo? What do you think? So have a think about that scenario. So do you think that Ruby was being fair by not being friends with Jazz anymore or not? See, I personally think that Ruby's not being fair. Jazz was probably busy. Jazz didn't have to reply, and Jazz shouldn't feel pressured in having to reply to Ruby at school anyway. On QuickSnap anyway. So in our house, we switch off all of our devices by 8 p.m. It's our family rule. We all do it. And that's in Jazz's foster dad's house. That's in Jazz's house, and she has a parent and Ruby's mum. We don't have any rules for the use of devices in our house. So in Ruby's mum's house, they don't actually have to turn off their devices at any specific time. So which might be the problem in why Jazz didn't respond, because at 8 o'clock, her family, all of their electronic devices are not being used. So let's have a quick look at the challenge for today. So it says write down a definition of peer pressure and give an example. So you might want to write it down, give an example, and also you could draw a picture just to help you give reference. Or if you find it easier, you might draw the picture first of peer pressure happening, and then write down what you've actually drawn in your picture and your definition. It's up to you which way around you want to do it. Task number 2 is think back to the slide, so you could go back through the video. Is anyone applying peer pressure? And if so, who is? So who in that group between Jazz and Ruby, who is applying peer pressure? And what do you think might be the effects of pressuring your friend? And task number 3 is pretend to be Jazz and write a diary entry about how she feels about Ruby's actions. So pretend you're Jazz and write down how you might be feeling by the way that Ruby has been behaving with you at school and possibly why. So that's all from me today. You can also use the, if you have your computers or your tablets at home, you could actually have a practice of typing up your answers or creating your picture using paint if you have these apps at home. It's up to you. If not, that's fine to do it on a piece of paper. I just thought I'd mention it as it is a computing lesson. So that's all for me today. I will see you all in the next lesson. Bye everybody.